Hello, what is up guys? It's EvilDoisArm here today, back with another Blade and Soul video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a very important question that I get asked pretty frequently, and that is mystic damage more important or is critical damage more important? And this is mainly because we have the different accessory tiers in the game, the PvE dungeon content versus the PvE raid content accessories. They give different stats and people always want to know which one's best. So real quick, before we begin, if you are new to the channel, new to Blade and Soul, or enjoying the content on the channel, please consider subscribing as it does mean a lot to me. And without further ado, let's get into it. So before we can even get into which one of these is better, we're going to take a look at a spreadsheet that I made a long time ago. And this spreadsheet is the spreadsheet where I went through and calculated every single different stat and every single thing and how it all impacts additional damage, the criticals, the piercings, everything, to come up with like a generalized equation that determines the overall damage that you will do in Blade and Soul. And that sucker is right here. It's this huge line full of a whole bunch of different entries and all sorts of stuff, all calculated from above up here. Anyway, the main component of that is that the main damage bracket, or the main thing that does the majority of your damage in the game, is going to be your attack power, times your mystic damage, times your crit rate, times your crit damage. These are the main governing components, and things like additional damage, or even your piercing or your accuracies, all of those pull from this and include this in the equation. The others are just multipliers of this base portion. So if you can maximize this base portion, you're going to maximize your damage overall. So the key operator here is the fact that your critical damage really is contingent on your critical rate. So how do you find out your critical rate? You could press the P key on the keyboard and navigate over to the critical stat and see that I have, wow, 51.11% chance at critical. Wow, that means my critical damage sucks. At 263 only happening 50% of the time, that means it's like 130. That is wrong. The way to get your actual critical damage, what you need to do is you need to do a parse. To do a parse, press F12 on the keyboard to enter the Hongwu training room. Oh, sorry, I was updating my Tinder, Anyway, what you're going to want to do when you get into this menu is navigate to the dungeon tab and scroll down to a relatively simple dungeon. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. Obviously, if you pick something relevant to the content you're going to be doing, it'll give you a better representation. But just for this video, I'm going to pick the Sacred Lungwai, pick a partner, and click Start. And that should be good enough. If we navigate over to the EvilDoisArm tab, you're going to see some numbers in parentheses there, and just got to assess that real quick. So, next to Bulletstorm over here on the right, you can see that I have an 80% listed. It's the very first entry right there. That number in parentheses is the critical rate for the stat. Obviously, as you play out a longer parse against the enemies, longer parses are going to give you more accurate numbers. But as you can sort of tell from that, my critical rate seems to be somewhere around 67 to 65% in that. So what I would do for that stat is go ahead and put in a 0.67 into the equation. So we're going to navigate back on over to the spreadsheet, and I did make a mistake when I said this the first time around, and I recorded this whole video and went back over it and said, oh wait, I screwed up. So the actual main component of your damage calculation is the mystic damage times the crit rate times the crit damage, plus the mystic damage times 1 minus the crit rate. The reason you need that 1 minus the crit rate is because you need to account for the times that you don't get a crit. Mystic damage times 1 minus crit rate only accounts for about 15% of the overall equation, but it is a major component of it, so you need to make sure you include that. At any rate, if I go ahead and use that equation with my character's current stats, you can see them at the top of the Excel. I hope the resolution is high enough for you to be able to see them. But put my 1.37 mystic damage in, a 0.33% chance at not getting a crit, plus 1.37 for the mystic chance, so 137%, 1.37, times 0.67 for a 67% crit chance, times 2.63 for the 263% critical damage, gives me a multiplier of 2.866. So this multiplier, what I want to do is maximize this multiplier. So what you want to do as a player is maximize this multiplier that you see right here from this bit of the equation. So when you're switching between different accessories or deciding what you want to pick, put in the numbers that it changes your character stats on your F2 page or your P page. If you press P on the keyboard, you can go ahead and see your critical damage, your critical percent, and your mystic percent. Take those percent numbers that pop up when you change the different gears and apply them into this little bit of an equation. As you adjust those numbers, you'll see your ratio right here, either increase or decrease. You want the biggest possible ratio that you can get. Pretty straightforward and simple, and that is how you decide whether a mystic upgrade or a critical damage upgrade is better for your character. Obviously, there are different effects that the different accessories give you that increase specific stats and specific damages, so you do need to weigh those as well. That's what the later portions of the equation go ahead and calculate out for. But as a general rule of thumb, if it's like a rather similar like-for-like change and you're really only adjusting these different stats, then this is how you go ahead and decide which one's the most important. So anyway guys, I hope you found this video useful. If you did like this video, make sure to leave a like. check out some of the other videos on the channel. Like I said, I've got a whole bunch of different ones going into all the different stats in the game. And please consider subscribing so you stay updated when new content comes out, and it helps to grow the channel. Plus, if at 20,000 subscribers, not 15, at 20,000 subscribers, I will be dyeing my hair neon green. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you at the next stream, video, or wherever I happen to see you. Peace.